Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in. We have yet another high-performance scooter on the channel. This is from a brand called iScooter, and this is the first product we've had from them on the channel. So we're going to see what they're all about and what kind of performance and quality they offer. And of course, we'll leave any discount codes we can offer, any savings to you, any links in the description below. All right, so let's get into it. Now, this has been the year for the scooter, especially on the channel, and we're here for it. We love these high performance scooters. Now, this is the iX7 Pro from iScooter, and this comes in at $899. And we're going to go over some of the specs and features of the scooter. Now, this thing weighs just 65.5 pounds, and it will support a rider up to 330 pounds. So at 260 pounds, we should have no problem riding the scooter and getting it to perform at its highest ability. Now, this thing can get up to a top speed of 38 miles per hour, so it can definitely move thanks to the dual 1200 watt motors that each peak at 2000 watts. So basically, you're getting a peak of 4000 watts total on this scooter. So it should have some really good torque and power. So we're super excited to see how this thing performs. Now, under here, you get a 48 volt, 10 amp hour battery, and they say that should get you up to 50 miles of range on a single charge. Now, as far as the included charger, they say it should take you up to 8 to 10 hours to charge a scooter all the way from 0 to 100. They also say you should be able to climb a grade of 25% as far as hills go. So we're going to test that out. We have some pretty large hills in our area and see how this thing does. So I think at 1200 watts per motor, this thing should have no problem. Now, as far as the braking goes, you have dual hydraulic disc brakes on here, as well as EABS. So you get electronic braking on here. So you should have some very nice stopping power on here, especially with a scooter going upwards of 40 miles per hour. You do get 10-inch tubeless tires on here. And you get these nice fenders too, which I like to see. And I love the way this thing mounts. So it's kind of like floating there. Now you do get dual suspension. So suspension in the rear and suspension up front. So we're going to see how this thing does going through some light trails, seeing how it handles some bumps. But I think this should do a really good job. As far as the deck goes, you get a really nice rubbery deck, some good space on here as well. Now this piece is metal, so it will support your foot. Now you do get a functioning tail and brake light back here, along with built-in turn signals. And you also get these side ambient lights, so you can see up front and in the back, along with the sides. Now you do get a very bright front headlight. You get some really nice cable management, which runs inside this post here, along with your front carbon fiber looking like fender. And of course, this is a folding scooter, and we'll show you how to fold it right now. So you want to pull this little lever up, and this will pull forward and drop all the way down. And you take this and put it into the space there. Make sure that's nice and tight, and you can pick it up. And at 65.5 pounds, most people should not have any problem picking this up and transporting it. Now, as far as unfolding it, you do the same thing in reverse. Just unclip this part, lift it up, and clip this lever into place, and you'll hear a nice click. So standing over the scooter, we're going to show you your controls as well as your display. So first things first, we're going to power on the display by holding down the power button here on your control panel until it turns on. You have a color display. It's not full color, but it is color. Now, starting from the left-hand side of your handlebars and controls, you do have a really nice grip, and this is a locking grip as well. This is not going anywhere. You have a really nice area here for the grip, and it does a very good job. So really nice to see. You have your left brake lever along with your bell. This is spring-loaded, which we like to see. On your control panel here, top button turns on your headlight. It's super bright. You have a horn button. Basically, it's just a beep. So I think you're really supposed to use the bell. Now the S button will switch your modes. So if you look at the screen here, we have walk mode. If you hit it again, you have eco, you have race, and you have sport. Now you have your M button for mode. If you click that, it'll switch from miles per hour to kilometers per hour. And if you hit it again, it will go back to miles per hour. You can double tap the mode button and it will switch to two-wheel drive. So both motors will be activated, and to switch back to one-wheel drive or one motor, just double tap the mode button again and you see one-wheel drive on the screen. Now triple tap the mode button and you can switch from odometer to tripometer. Triple tap and it will go back to odometer. So the mode button has multiple functions. Now on the bottom of your control panel here, you do have a toggle switch for your turn signals. When you turn those on, you have an indicator on the screen, which is nice, and also an audible indicator as well. You can hear the beeps letting you know your turn signal is on. Now your turn signals will display on the side with the ambient lights as well as in the back, and those are very bright. To turn it off, just go back to center and then to the right to turn on your right hand turn signal. Moving over to the right hand side, you have your right grip. Again, it is a locking grip. More scooters should come with the locking grips, which they don't, surprisingly, especially on these high-powered scooters. You should have something that locks so it doesn't move while you're riding. You have your right brake lever as well as your thumb throttle. Now we prefer a thumb throttle over something like a twist throttle or even a trigger throttle, which is pretty popular on these scooters these days, but we'll choose the thumb throttle every single time. Now going back to the screen, you have your speedometer here in miles per hour. Again, you have your one-wheel drive and two-wheel drive indicator letting you know if both motors are active or if just one is. You have your headlight indicator that will turn on and off along with your headlight, and your odometer, which we showed you how to switch to tripometer, as well as your battery meter that runs along the right-hand side of the screen. Now the scooter does have app compatibility with the Minirobot app. So if you want to switch some settings, things like that, you can do that inside the app. All right, guys, so there is the iX7 Pro, a high-performance scooter from iScooter. Lots of specs and features, which we just went over. If you have any questions about those, please leave them in the comments section below. We get back to everybody. So let's take this thing out and see how it performs. All right, so we're on the iX7 Pro from iScooter. Right off the bat, this thing is pretty peppy and pretty comfortable as far as like the height goes and stuff. You know, I am 6'2". I'm going to do a brake test at the storm drain here. All right, so it didn't lock them up, but did a pretty good job stopping. I think that was more the electronic braking too that helped us out there. Yeah, but I'm not sure if you heard that, but the front wheel is spinning. We are in dual motor mode, and we're going to do a top speed test here. And if you heard that beep, it is going into cruise control. All right, so we hit 38.2 miles per hour, and that did top it off. It wasn't going any faster. They do claim 38 miles per hour for top speed, so we did hit that. Pretty impressive at 260 pounds. Now you can still hear that cruise control activating after holding the throttle for a couple seconds. You can turn that off in the app if you don't want that to come on. Now remember, we do have turn signals on here. We have indicators as far as audible and on the screen. Suspension is really nice on here. Yeah, the brakes work really well, and it's not like jerky. It doesn't lock your brakes up, which is nice. Really easy to flick around. Now, as far as the power that this thing puts out, and only being 65.5 pounds, that's pretty lightweight for a high performance scooter like this one. We do have a lot of room on the deck, and we have that metal footrest in the back, which we like to see. A really nice scooter so far. I guess what we'll do is we'll go through the modes. All right, so we'll start in Eco. So Eco is still pretty powerful, but it looks like you're topping out at 18.2 miles per hour. We'll switch it into race mode, and it looks like race mode tops out at 28.2 miles per hour. So pretty impressive. And we'll go back into sport mode. So the nice thing about the scooter too is if you switch your modes and you're in cruise control, it actually takes cruise control off. So I think that's a pretty nice safety feature. Now let's see how this thing is with just one motor. So we'll double tap the mode button. So definitely not as quick and torquey with one motor, but of course you're not going to go through as much battery. And we are topping off around like 31.1 miles per hour in the single motor mode. Not too shabby. Switch that back, and we're going to take it through our park here and see how it handles off-road. Don't think it's going to have too much of a problem. Very nice day today. Pretty hot. You can hear those tires spinning. Now you get instant throttle response, which is nice. So no delay on this. And it's handling this terrain very nicely. Definitely sliding a bit back there with power. Suspension is doing a really good job. It did rain last night, so it's a little wet out here. Oh man. Really easy to control. Now we'd probably be better off maybe taking it down to at least race mode through here. But what fun would that be, right? We're really having to feather the throttle so we don't wipe out here. But really nice job this thing did. Oh man. Whew. So one thing on these scooters is they are high powered. So you really have to balance yourself. And it does, believe it or not, take a lot out of you. Now to be honest, I prefer that cruise control off, or if we can set it to activate after a longer time period, because I feel like sometimes maybe you'll forget it's on. But a really good value, honestly, for $8.99 for dual motors. Now we've been getting more high-powered dual motor scooters on the channel because we feel like our viewers seem to like those more. So let me know what other scooters you want to see on the channel. We'll see if we can get those on here to review them. But this is a really good option for commuting around town and keeping up with traffic. And again, I hadn't heard of the iScooter brand before this, but they put out a really good scooter with this iX7 Pro. Let's see what I mean. That cruise control comes on way too quickly. So we can go into Minirobot App and remove or turn off the cruise control. But we're going to do a hill test here on our good sized hill and see how it does climbing up. All right, so this is the hill climb test with the iX7 Pro. We're in dual motor mode, in sport mode as well, and we'll see how this thing does. I don't think it's going to have any issues, but here we go. So yeah, just got to be careful right off the bat. That front wheel spinning. But we're climbing at 23.2 miles per hour. 24.2 miles per hour. Back to 23.2 miles per hour. 22. Around 22. Up the steepest part of this hill. So really good performance. Very surprised with this scooter. I think it's a fantastic value. As far as like taking turns in the woods, it was a little bit harder, probably because we were going in sport mode and the throttle was so responsive. I'm sure if we went down a mode into the race mode, it would be a little bit easier. But there is the iX7 Pro dual motor scooter, 1200 watts each for each motor. And this thing has a ton of power, a ton of speed. You'll have no problem getting up hills, especially with us being 260 pounds, no issues whatsoever. You have some really nice fenders on here. We love to put our foot back here, so really nice to see that is metal. Dual suspension in the back with these springs. You have a nice amount of room on the deck. 10-inch tubeless tires do a really good job even in the light trails you went on. You get your tail and brake light along with your ambient lights on the side that turn on with the signals. Nice auto recoil as far as the charging port goes to make sure that's sealed up. And your 48 volt 10 amp hour battery, which should give you up to 50 miles of range on a single charge. So really impressive that this thing is only 48 volts. It had a ton of power. It does fold down, like we said. Pull this little lever up, pull the big lever out, and fold it down. Same in reverse to unfold it, and it clicks into place. And it locks really well. This does not move, so really safe while you're out riding. There is some wobble on some other scooters we've tested. This one is nice and firm. You have a very bright headlight in the front and easy to use controls. And you have like a matte finish on the screen, which is pretty easy to see while you're out riding even in the sun. So it is kind of like an anti-glare laminate on it. Really easy controls, nice grips. These aren't going anywhere. And of course, the thumb throttle, which we love to see on our scooters. If you guys have any questions about the iX7 Pro, really fantastic value at $899. Let us know in the comments section below. We get back to everybody. Until next time, guys, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. Peace out.